Hi guys, I've had a bunch of people asking me about doing a bail only tutorial. Well, since I haven't figured out what I was doing with this to wrap it yet, I decided this would be perfect for a bail only tutorial. Well, I have 20 gauge wire, which I actually get at my hardware store. It's raw wire, absolutely untreated, and it's about $6. So, score! Yeah! That's me giving a thumbs up in that little tiny window. And then this stuff is wire that I stripped and cleaned. You can get reclaimed wire at many different places. Now I used to be able to get it a lot of more places, but now that the price of copper has gone up, a lot of like electrical sites, building sites that are installing electrical and that sort of thing, they recycle their copper now. They don't actually give it to people anymore. So that was me uncoiling my copper. So I'm going to take my cutters and cut about this much. Anybody who follows me on Facebook knows that I don't measure with rulers. I would love to measure with rulers and have a good, there we go, sorry, I kind of got tangled up in the mess I have off to the side. Okay, so we're going to do 3, because with 3 this is going to end up 6 wide. You'll see what I mean in a sec. There we go. Now move my copper. So we have 3 slightly kinked up wires. I'm going to unkink just a little bit. You guys should all be happy. This is a nice start to finish one too. So many people have no idea how to start. And I'm taking my little flat nosed pliers and giving it a bit of a squeeze on the really, really bent spots. You don't need it perfectly straight though, because you're going to end up bending it anyways. You just want it generally straight so you're not warping your weave as you go. And there we go. Now, I've got little pointy bits. See those little V shapes? Oops. So I want to use, I've got the flat side and I've got the not so flat side. So I want to use the flat side and cut the little pointy bits just as close to the end as I can. And then I'm not gouging myself as I'm working. And you may have noticed that I cut into my beading mat there. Well, that is because if I don't do that, my copper goes flying. I just dropped that into my little collection container I have there. So, one piece and some wire. Make a hook over a couple times, and then I start coiling the back end up a little bit. This is to make our start spot. And squish. Sorry, that wasn't in the light. I'm trying. It's kind of nice and bright out now, but I have an extra light up top, and sometimes when I forget about that one, I make too much shadow. Okay, can you see the little bit sticking off the end there? You probably can't. Oh, there it is. Now, I need to take my cutters and clip that little bit off towards there to make sure it doesn't go flying. Because believe you me, if your bits go flying and you forget about picking them up, they do not feel very good when stuck in your feet. And I am a barefooter, so yeah, not fun. Okay, so I'm doing a 2 and 2 on 3 wires. So 1, 2 times around. Now I'm adding the other wire and going in between. Squish, pull a little tight. You got to keep your tension fairly consistent. I mean, you don't have to pull, but you do have to keep your tension fairly consistent, because if you don't, you'll end up with a warped weave. I mean, if you don't care about having a warped weave, feel free to not keep your tension the way you need to. Sorry, mouth and brain not working so great together. Okay, so I was talking about other things while I was doing that, but I will show what I'm explaining step by step now. So I'm going through those two and pulling tight, over and back through those two, over, and now, as you see, I went all the way around the back. Now I'm going through those two, and through those two, and then squish, and then back through these two, and through these two, and back around the back, and through those two, and through those two. Now this is a very basic weave that you can do to attach 3 wires together without an issue, ever. Now, I plan on bringing it through and around, so I only want to have a little bit of the 3-wire weave. Let's see, I need a bit more. Now, through those two, and through these two. And I usually squish quite frequently to keep everything all nice and lined up, because I prefer things to look even. I'm a little bit obsessive that way, actually. I had to really get over my issue with evenness when I started, sorry, bumped the tripod, when I started weaving, because when I'm weaving, I can't exactly make a fully even thing on both sides. You know, I really admire some wire workers who can make these absolutely symmetrical pieces that are bloody gorgeous, you know. I love that look. Have not been able to achieve it really yet, but here we go. And one more on this side. Now let's see. Yep, that's good enough. Now I'm going to take these wires. If you don't do it too tight, you can actually adjust your wires. See how that's there now? In your weave as you're going. Now, I want the third one adjusted as well, except that one I think is going to need my pliers. Because the center one is always the tightest. Okay. Line those up on the ends. All nice and shorter now. Because these guys, which I'm going to bend out right now, because that's where I've decided where they're going to be, they are going to kind of go around the cab. So, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a good idea. Okay, so I did make them a bit longer than I needed to, but that's okay. I usually, if I end up with excess that I have to cut off, then I just make them into jump rings. So, first piece goes in the center and bent up. These guys go off to one side. And this guy, I do kind of want to make this reversible, but this one, no. Had an idea about making a spiral, but pardon me, I don't want to do that yet. So, 1, oops, that's getting a little wider. I don't want it wider, I want it even. Oops, wrong one. There we go, that's the right one. 2, And I need a little bit more because I'm gonna, this amount of shape has to go up high enough for me to be comfortable with it. So, 2, 1, oops, 2, get through those 2, come on, you can get in there, there we go. Yes, I talk to my wire the same way I talk to my dog and my child. Okay, so is that tall enough? No, it still needs a few more. You'll understand what I mean as soon as I get to the bending point here. And this won't be a big, huge, long video. It's probably going to be about 20 minutes though, because that's about what a bale normally takes. And 1, 2. Okay, that, whoops, I have a little bit of a gap there. There we go. That should be long enough. Now, I am going to take my lovely multi-size looping pliers. I love these things. Whoops, knocking stuff off. I think that says Euro tool. Here, let's do it in the way we can actually read it. There we go. Yep, Euro tool. And I just smacked my camera. Sorry about that. So, I want the second biggest. And I don't want to actually make a circle, so I'm grabbing it in the center. And with pliers, if you push too hard while you are doing it, I find I mar my wire up a lot. So, see? Look at that. I do need to roll it down just a tiny bit. There we go. Lovely bale, ready to secure together. Now, I did have these long guys on purpose, but like on the other side, I don't actually want all 3 of them right away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy, and this is a tricky spot. This is kind of hard to do without majorly bending up your wire, but I'm going to give it a bit of a kink there, and I'm going to pull it back with my pliers because I need to get it into the bale hole, because if I'd used 18 gauge for this, I would not be able to get anything else into that hole. There we go. And that is tough, which is why I'm using my pliers to do it and not my fingers. Now see, I can't pull any farther because this is bent. Well, we gotta straighten it out and pull till it doesn't go anymore. Oh, look, it went perfectly. Look at that. Lucky me. Okay, so bale is attached. Tighten that up just a tiny bit more. So we don't want the weave going all the way down. Sorry, I was out of screen there. We don't want the weave going all the way down. We want the bare wires most of the way down. So the weave, if you look, ends just right there at the top of the stone. Now, I am going to rescue my lovely wire here, which kind of got all messed up with my bending. So this is going up so it doesn't shift. And I'm going to give this a bit more of a squeeze so it's more oval shaped, because that fits better with this stone. Now is the time when I give this puppy a spiral. I usually actually use my round nose for this, but this 20 gauge stuff, you can get away with using your chain nose for making spirals. Because it's thick enough, it'll still do it. Now, I don't know if you saw me have an issue right there, but it's because I actually needed to be pushing with this finger, because otherwise my attempted spiral making here was just pushing the wire into the hole instead of working on the hole. There we go. Tiny bit farther up. Now I'm going to do a little doohickey there. Well, this one's not going to have the same spiral on the same side because I used one longer one on the other side and a shorter one on this side. But I'm also not making a full spiral like I was. I'm making a partial spiral, and then I am going to take my weaving wire and coil this puppy here. Now, I'm sure other people have seen my coiling technique that makes life much faster, but you always need to get a hand coil, a slow version base going here. Now, oh, I felt that go over. Let's try that again. Apparently I need to get a little bit farther before I can do that flip thing. And there we go. Squish. I have to do this one slower than I normally do because I've kind of got a free moving rock in there. So I'm just trying to get it going here. I may have to do this one all the slow way. That sucks. Okay, let's try this again. Oh no, now it's working. It didn't want to work before. When you do this, I'm actually grabbing and putting my fingers here and then pinching. And then as you go, you can feel the wire moving underneath your fingers. Well, how I know I've messed up and it started going back on the coil is because I feel it start to get thicker, I guess would be the best way to say it. Or not even. You can feel it. You really can. Once you've done this a couple of times. Am I going the right way? Oops, I was going the wrong way. Once you've done it a couple of times, you'll be able to feel what's going on. Whoops, just like right there. See, I felt that as soon as it happened. Okay, now I'm going to do this the slower way. Although I'm fairly quick at it. Most people are not. And honestly, the other way is quicker as long as you're got your tension correct. Do-do-do-do-do. Squish. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Squish. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Squish. Okay, so that lovely one is all nice and coiled. And I am going to... what am I going to do here? I'm going to do curlies. That's what I'm going to do. And this way. Oops. Silly wire. It's trying to get away from me. Okay. Now, I usually use 22 gauge for this stuff so that I'm not having quite such an issue getting things to stay but still have the strength. But I figured because this is a bale alone, I should use 20 gauge. I'm kind of regretting that decision now. 20 gauge is not quite as easy to put into shape as 22 gauge is. Okay, oops, too far. Now, I kind of want this to join to this because then it won't do this in the bale. Which, I mean, if you don't mind the movement, it's great, but I don't really want this one to move around as much as it is. So, I have to figure out ways of securing. So what I'm probably going to do is, see if I bent that over, I'm just going to, I'm going this way, I'm not opening up the spiral, I'm like the concept with a jump ring, where you open it sideways instead of outwards. when you do it that way, it tends to work way better. Now, that kind of looks ugly like that, but that one side looks okay. So, this isn't going to be near as reversible as I like them to be, but it's going to be pretty. And, oops, come on, get the thing. There we go. And I want, now that I've made that little hook there, I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Now you can see it. I actually want to hook this. I need to tighten that up a bit to make it fit. I want to hook it back on itself. But that's not really going to work. Maybe if I do this. Come on, get in there. Yay. Yay. Okay. Gotta grab that. It's just barely sticking on the side, and now I have it over, and we're all good. Okay. So that means I can probably trim this puppy unless I want to add beads. So now I decide if I want to add beads. Actually, I'm going to take this and string it through there. And why am I doing this? Because it's going to make it more stable. And it reduces the chance, you see where my wire's going through there? It reduces the chance of it getting caught on things and breaking. I'm only doing a couple because it shows up on this coil and I don't really like the look of an extra coil on top of a coil. It's all personal preference when you're designing. I'm always happy when people like my preference of stuff because it's a good thing. Now, what I'm doing here is called a securing spiral. So I am just going back in and securing. Always do at least 3 times around before you trim. Anything less, and if there's too much pressure, it is going to easily come undone. Okay, so we have 3. We have 3, and I am going to adjust things together. There we go. And I am also going to trim, but I'm not trimming over here. I'm trimming back here. Why am I trimming back there instead of on the front? Because, oh come on, wire. There we go. Because then we don't have pokey bits when we are done. So I'm just pressing everything down. And it feels great. That's important. Okay, so same concept on this side, except I actually have to restart my spiral, so I'm just doing a kind of a cheat thing here. Look, there we go. Sorry, I was out of frame there for a sec. I am just holding my wire and doing it that way. I'm going to trim instead of spiraling backwards like I normally do with that stuff. And look at this, you're seeing like 6 or 7 different ways to spiral, aren't you? Oh, okay, time to do. And just like everything else, spirals, tension is important too. You want things to look even. Sorry, got out of frame there again. That's my issue here, is that I keep looking at the piece instead of looking at the piece through the camera, which is actually my phone. But I have a nice phone. My daddy was very, very generous with me. When my last phone broke, I had a Galaxy S2, and it was very good. I did lots of wonderful things with it, but it was on its last legs. They don't really make anything to last anymore. Unlike me, you know what? I make my stuff to last. I don't make my stuff to be disposable. I don't think disposable is a good thing. You want disposable? Don't buy from me. Go buy from Walmart. You will get disposable stuff. And I'm good with that if that's what you want to do. But I am not a fan of major disposable. Okay, so here we go. Almost to the end. Good, because I have barely any wire left. Squish. Now, I can't do exactly the same on this side because there's already a spiral there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my spiral down. Oops, see, it kind of went sideways. I have to take this without squeezing too hard and bend it over. Why don't I want to squeeze too hard? Because I don't want to mar my spiral. And now we've got it on that position, and we're going to go this way. And in like that. Squish together. Sorry, kind of got a frame again there. Now my spiral's coming down. And you see that's a little longer than I wanted it. I want it kind of all within the same. So I'm going to take it without pushing too hard, push it in, and then roll it up a little bit more. There we go. Now it is... come on, get in there. There we go. Now it is how I want it to look. So, same idea with this side as I did with the other. Kind of lift this off to one side, bring this up, and it's got to go through there. Push that back down again. It's not really working well for stabilizing it, is it? That's okay. I know how to fix that. And this one seems to be longer. Oh no, it's not longer. It's just that this spiral's farther out than this one. I understand. That's okay. I'll make another decorative something on the back. So, I'm not going to do the hook thing on this one like I did with the other because it's longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take the little whoop. There we go. Oops, need to push it a little farther before I can grab it. Come on, sorry. And I'm gently pulling, and there we go. There we go. Not quite as pretty as the other one, but it works. It secures it. You see everything in there? I hope so. Okay, so that means that I don't have the same ability. I might as well trim this while I'm looking at this. My lovely Tronics have these itty bitty little corners, and I love it. My tips would always dull so quickly on my cheapies. I know what I can do. I can do it with this one. That makes sense. I'll bring that up and over, and pull that out a little bit. Bring this guy. Oh, come on. Quit fighting with me. Get in there. Come on. I know you wanna. Don't you wanna look pretty, wire? Yeah, I'm silly. I know. Ah, hook. Perfect. Now to bend this puppy back over. And come on. I'm trying to get my pliers in the right spot to continue that little hook. Come on. Make making lots of marks in my wire today. Goodness. You know what? I think I'm going to have to change the spirals. Well, maybe not. No, I know what I'm doing here. Just need to get that down just a tiny bit more, and now I can push this puppy back around the front. It's that gap right there that I am trying to close. Can you see it? There it is. And I need this one. There we go. So, bend, push, bend, push. Me and my pliers fingers. I have very strong fingers.